Hello everyone, my name is Thomas Kim. Today is February 2nd, 2019. This is my 39th episode about template metaprogramming. In this episode, we will learn what is namespace alias, type alias, and object alias. If you want to create millions of lines of source code, not just 10,000 or 20,000, something like that, if you want to create a program with millions of lines of code that all work seamlessly without any bug, then you need to understand these concepts: namespace alias, type alias, object alias. All these concepts play a very important role in modern C++ programming. If you follow my advice, you can create a huge application seamlessly without much effort. Of course, it takes efforts, but it is possible. This session is to prepare for matrix chain multiplication dynamic programming. In my next episode, I will implement matrix chain multiplication program dynamic programming, this algorithm in C++. I found a few flaws in this application. I mean, his video is very great, but there is a few important missing points in this algorithm. In next video, I will implement complete algorithm for matrix chain multiplication. This session is to prepare for my next session, and also if you have trouble understanding this session, please double click this link. Watch Template Metaprogramming 30 seconds how to use rvalue reference correctly. If you have trouble understanding this session, please watch this video. Okay, let's get started. Include IO stream, namespace, talk play fun, namespace hide. We are creating a function like this: template, type name, type name, types, or sum, any number of elements over arbitrary types. Type first, types, tails. Okay, I will make it line break like this. Then I will introduce rvalue reference. Then I create function body like this. Return first plus tails. int main. So we are calling this function. I will show you how to call this function first. std cout 1 2 3 10. Talk play fun, hide sum any numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. std and there. Now let's build. We are using Microsoft compiler CL EHSC std C++17 alias cpp fem exe. I have to modify this like this. Let's see what's the problem. CLS expected. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Okay, it works. Please don't do this using namespace talk play fun hide. Please don't do this. Don't do this. If you ever have to do this, if you do not want to use namespace declaration, then do this. Narrow the scope. Narrow the scope like this. If you want to use namespace declaration like this, then narrow the scope. I will explain why. Okay, you try to use long names. Okay, I will show you once again. Some IntelliSense already gives me the function name like this. I never type. I type just a few first characters. Another way namespace plays very important role is something like this. Talk play fun hide. Then it gives just one candidate. I don't need to type. Please don't do this using namespace std. Please don't do this. Please don't. Because if you put std, then this gives candidate list. If I type C, then it all gives candidate list. Why should I not use this type name? Why do not use this type name? It does not save you any. It does not save you any typing. It only causes you trouble to remember the names. If you are making a huge application, you should not remember anything but the namespace. If you are creating millions of lines of application, how can you remember those names? You cannot remember. But you can remember your namespace. If you remember your namespace, for example, talk play fun hide, then it gives all candidate list as a pop-up menu. IntelliSense does the work. Okay? So don't do this. Don't do this. I will explain why you should not. Once again, include type trace. Then I will explain why you should not. std forward. It gives me all the candidates and it gives me all information. You don't need to remember anything. Okay? You don't need to remember anything. It gives all details. Here, for example, let's see the source code. Code definition. Can you read this code? It's very hard to read because of these underscores, things like this. It's very hard to read. Why? Why Microsoft use underscore like this? Why it makes hard to read? Why? Because name clash. Why system application use very weird names to prevent name clash? If they used, they means the system programmers use namespace. They do not use such weird names. Also, they do not need to remember any names. This is ideal situation. However, namespace is a rather new introduction to C++ language. Okay? Especially namespace alias and things like that is rather new introduction to C++ language. So, in early days of C++ and C language, system programmers used weird names to prevent name clashes. I hope you understand this concept. If you ever feel tempted to do like this, instead of doing this, use namespace alias. Now I will show you what is namespace alias. You can define namespace alias like this. Namespace hidden. Or you can just say hide. Okay? Talk, play, fun. Hide. This is namespace alias. Namespace alias. Then from now on you can say it like this. Hide. Okay. It works. Okay? If you are tired of typing long namespace, then use namespace alias like this. Okay? I can define more functions like this. I copy it again. And I would say this is multiplication. Product of any number of elements of arbitrary type. Then I can do the same like this. I copy it and paste it here. C 1, 2, 3. I will just 5. I want just 5 factorial. Okay. Then I remove this part. I will show you how. Hide. It gives me candidate list like this. I just typed in this type name namespace alias, but C++ IntelliSense gives me type name. So I don't type. Sorry. It's done. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. std and there. So let's build and run. Okay. Correct. So this is the power of namespace alias. I will say void test namespace alias. Now I will explain what is object alias. In the beginning of this session, I said namespace alias, type alias, and object alias. I will explain object alias first. I will copy this function and paste it here, int main. Now I define void test object alias. Okay. Now if you ever want to use namespace, if you feel typing namespace is very bored, or you can type any name, talk, play, fun, for example, like this. Okay, talk, play, fun, hide. Then you can do like this. Now I define type alias like this. Or here I will define a template, type name, type, or I can just copy this header. This header, function header, I will just copy this function header, copied, and paste it here. Then I say context here, auto summation, like this, talk, play, fun, hide, I delete this part, type, types, like this. Also try not to declare type names like this in global scope. I have to modify like this alias because this is function type. I copy this part, copy, and this is talk, play, fun namespace. I can put it here. Now we can use summation like this. Summation. I will remove this code. Auto summation sum to ins. Then int. Of course, we have to provide talk, play, fun here, namespace, like this. So from now here, std cout 1 plus 2 sum 2 ins 1 2 std and there. I will create another one. Now I will say product. Okay, then I copy this function name. Actually, I can just copy and paste. Instead of summation, I would say sum. Okay, then here I would just say sum. Now here I would say product. Product 2 ins. Now it becomes product. Then I can put it here. I copy it and paste it. Now say 2 3. You can create arbitrary functions, sum int and double. Now int and double, like this. Okay, then here std cout 1 plus 22.0 over 7.0. product, I say sum int and double 1 22.0 7.0. Now we can run these functions. We can test this function object alias. Now here, okay, it works. You can rename any function, you can create any type. This is actually alias. Okay, these are all alias. Function pointer. These are actually function reference. You can create arbitrary function. For example, sum 10 doubles. I would say sum 5 doubles. Double 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then 10 doubles. Then here you can create function like this, std cout. You are adding 10 doubles. I would say sum from 1.0 to 10.0. Sum 10 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. std and there. Now let's build. Okay, it works. Now let's try with the GNU compiler. std C++17 alias cpp or gexe. Okay, it works. Let's try with clang. Okay, clang works. Now I cover type alias void test type alias. I will create an object here, template. I will copy this part. Class my arbitrary object. Suppose I created one object like this. And I put it namespace hide. Like this. Then we can use like this. Using objt. Talk, play, fun. Hide. It gives IntelliSense gives me type name like this. int double. Okay. Then I can create like this. My object t o. Object t my goodness. Or you can say auto. Weird element, weird class object. I hate this long name. Then just use this is type alias. Type alias. This is object alias. Weird object like this. My goodness object. Now this is object alias. Then I will display this name std cout all works. Or you can also define template type alias like this. Template type name. I will just copy this header. I will just copy this part. I will put it here using this is type alias my good object. Talk play fun. Hide my arbitrary object types. Then after this, instead of typing this, you can simply do like this. Okay, this is actually the same. Now let's build and run. Sorry, I will copy this function. I will call this function clang all works. GNU compiler works. Microsoft compiler works. So you don't need to remember names. You can define type alias. This is object alias. And this is namespace alias. This is also this is type alias. And this is type alias 2. You can use using statement for type alias definition. This is object alias. This is object. I hope you understand this concept. In my next video, I will explain matrix chain multiplication. In my next session, I will explain how to use stack properly. Okay? How to use stack properly. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.